The village of Kampong Baru was shrouded in an eerie silence. The air hung heavy with the perfume of frangipani, but beneath the sweetness, a sinister note lingered. Villagers spoke of it in hushed tones, their faces tight with fear. They whispered of the kuntilanak, a vengeful spirit, they said, trapped within the house's crumbling walls.
The villagers believed the house to be cursed. No one dared to approach it, much less step foot inside. To do so was to invite the kuntilanak's wrath, to risk a fate worse than death. But I, a young woman with a spirit as fiery as the midday sun, refused to believe these tales. I saw the fear that held my village captive. I was determined to confront the darkness, to expose the kuntilanak for what she truly was.
Sari's grandmother, a woman of quiet strength and wisdom, had instilled in her a healthy skepticism. She taught Sari to question everything, to seek truth even in the face of fear. On her deathbed, her grandmother had gifted Sari a small silver talisman, its surface etched with ancient symbols.
"It will protect you," she'd whispered, her voice frail but firm, "when you face the darkness."
Armed with her grandmother's talisman and her own unwavering resolve, Sari decided to spend a night in the haunted house. The villagers pleaded with her to reconsider.
"Sari, think about what you're doing. This is madness."
"Please, Sari, don't go. The house, it's dangerous."
But I would not be deterred. I knew that fear was a powerful force, one that could cripple a community. I was determined to break its hold on Kampong Baru.
As the sun began its descent, casting long shadows across the village, Sari gathered her supplies. She slipped the talisman around her neck, its cool touch a comforting weight against her skin. The walk to the house was short, but heavy with dread. Each step closer to the dilapidated structure sent shivers down Sari's spine. As she pushed open the creaking gate, a chorus of crickets fell silent. The air grew thick and still.
Taking a deep breath, I stepped inside. The air within was stale and heavy, thick with the smell of decay. Dust motes danced in the faint light that filtered through cracks in the boarded-up windows. Cobwebs clung to every surface, shrouding the room in a ghostly veil.
She moved cautiously through the house, her flashlight beam cutting through the darkness. Each creak of the floorboards, every rustle of wind in the eaves, sent her heart racing. As the hours crept by, the silence was broken by a new sound. It was a low humming at first, barely audible above the beating of Sari's heart.
It seemed to emanate from the floor above, a mournful, ethereal melody that sent chills down my spine.
Sari's hand tightened around her grandmother's talisman. This was it. Fear threatened to consume her, but Sari pushed it down. She had come too far to turn back now.
Taking a deep breath, I began to climb the stairs, each step echoing in the oppressive silence.
The humming grew louder as she ascended, transforming into a mournful wail that seemed to claw at her sanity. At the top of the stairs, a long, dark hallway stretched before her. The humming was at its peak now, reverberating through the house.
At the end of the hallway, a figure stood bathed in a faint ethereal light. The kuntilanak.
Fear threatened to cripple Sari, but the sight of the ghostly figure ignited a spark of defiance within her.
Clutching the talisman, I drew strength from its cool touch, from the memory of my grandmother's courage.
The kuntilanak turned, her face a mask of sorrow and rage. Her eyes, two glowing embers in the darkness, locked onto Sari, and a wave of icy cold washed over the young woman. The mournful wail intensified, piercing Sari's eardrums, threatening to shatter her resolve. But Sari stood firm, her hand clutching the talisman.
I am not afraid of you. You have no power here.
The kuntilanak's wail became a shriek of fury. She lunged at Sari, her spectral hands outstretched. Sari closed her eyes and held up the talisman, its ancient symbols glowing faintly in the darkness. A wave of energy pulsed from the talisman, throwing Sari back. She landed hard against the wall, the air knocked from her lungs. When she opened her eyes, the hallway was empty. The humming, the wailing, the kuntilanak, all gone. Silence descended once more, but this time it was different. It was the silence of peace, of a presence lifted.
Bruised and shaken, I made my way back to the village.
The villagers gathered around her, their faces etched with a mixture of relief and awe. She told them what she had seen, what she had done. She told them that the kuntilanak was gone.
The village awoke to a strange new reality. The oppressive fear that had clung to us for generations seemed to have dissipated.
The house at the edge of the village still stood, but it no longer seemed menacing.
The villagers, forever grateful for Sari's bravery, hailed her as a hero.
And so I remained vigilant, my grandmother's talisman a constant reminder of the darkness that lay just beneath the surface, waiting to be unleashed.